What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be looking at the sound perks in Black Ops 3, so we're looking at dead silence and awareness, as well as their relationship with each other. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so I guess I'll just say this at the beginning of the video. If you have a headset or a set of earbuds even, or just something that you can plug into wherever you're watching this video, like if you're watching it on your computer, if you can plug a set of earbuds in at the very least, that would be great. Or if you don't have that, just crank your audio up a little bit and try to find a quiet place, because I am actually going to be showing you examples of the relationship between these perks, so you guys can hear the difference with and without dead silence and with and without awareness. So first up, here's an example where neither of us have any of these sound perks. So I don't have awareness and my enemy doesn't have dead silence. Have a listen. Alright, so you could probably hear a little bit of a footstep sound there, especially when the enemy started getting closer. You could definitely hear some footstep sounds as he ran by. Now let's have a look at what happens when I'm wearing awareness and my enemy is not using dead silence. Okay, so you probably noticed a pretty big difference there. Even if you're just using your speakers on a laptop or something, you can clearly hear those footsteps very, very loud, and from a pretty decent distance as well. So awareness does seem to make a very big difference in this game. Next, we're going to have a look at what happens when I'm not using awareness, but my enemy is using dead silence. Okay, so for this one, unless you have a really good headset, it's highly unlikely that you heard anything. And with a really good headset, you can hear just the faintest footstep, like a really bassy sort of footstep, and you can just barely hear it. And at that point, the enemy is almost touching me in this situation. So dead silence almost completely eliminates your footstep sound, but there is still something. In a practical situation, you're never actually going to hear those footsteps. Like even in Search and Destroy, in a 1v1, the chances of you hearing the enemy's footsteps, if they have dead silence and you're not using awareness, is slim to none. Now, let's finally have a look at the relationship between these two perks. In this next situation, I'm using awareness and my enemy is using dead silence. Have a listen. So there you have it. You can definitely hear the footsteps again. It's obviously nowhere near hearing footsteps when you have awareness and your enemy doesn't have dead silence. It's actually very comparable, if not the same, as when neither of you are using the perks. So it sounds like they may actually cancel each other out completely. I don't have access to the in-game code or anything, so I can't say 100% for sure that they just completely cancel each other out. One of them might be a little bit more powerful than the other. I'll let you guys be the judge of this though. I'm going to play both of those clips back. So first I'm going to play the clip where neither of us have any perks equipped. And then the second one is when my enemy has dead silence and I have awareness. And just see if you can tell a difference between the two. So what do you think about that? Let me know in the comment section below. Now with the return of theater mode, I'm really a sucker for visualizations and seeing different ranges and everything, so I decided I'd make one for this video as well. This is by no means supposed to be really scientific, it's just a simple visualization. I basically paused in theater mode the moment that I could hear the enemy's footsteps, and I could actually tell that this is an enemy's footstep and not some ambient noise in the background. I just paused it. I took a screenshot of where the enemy was at that point in relation to me, and then I created this chart with all of the different perk combinations. So first up, we have the distance that I was able to hear an enemy when neither of us were using any of the sound perks. Next, here's the distance when I was using awareness and my enemy wasn't using dead silence, and that is insane. It was way before I was able to see him. That's quite a good distance away. Next, this is when the enemy had dead silence and I didn't have awareness. He was basically touching me at this point. And then finally, this is also the distance where I was able to hear the enemy when both of us had the sound perks equipped. Now, obviously, they were maybe a foot or two away, but I just decided to put them on the same dot because to me, it's pretty much identical. So I think this image right here actually gives you a pretty good representation of the power of these different perks. You can see just how powerful Dead Silence is when your enemy isn't using awareness. On the other end of that, you can see just how powerful it is to use awareness when your enemies aren't using Dead Silence. So finally, I have just a couple little tests that I did on the side that I thought you guys would be interested in seeing. First off, the sound that your thruster makes is not affected by Dead Silence. Here's what your thruster sounds like when you're even using Dead Silence. So obviously you can hear it pretty clearly. It sounds exactly the same as if you're not using Dead Silence. The perk that does silence your thruster pack, or nearly silences it, is Blast Suppressor. And this is what it sounds like when you're using Blast Suppressor. So as you can probably tell there, you can barely hear the thruster when you're using Blast Suppressor. So that might be something to consider as well for game modes like Search and Destroy. I don't know if it's really necessary, but it's definitely something to consider. And finally, people have been wondering, what about Active Camo, which is that specialist ability for Spectre that makes you basically invisible, not quite completely invisible. They were wondering, does that also silence your footsteps even if you're not using Dead Silence? And the answer to that is no. In this scenario, I have awareness and my enemy has Dead Silence. Have a listen. So as you can tell, it not only doesn't silence your footsteps, it actually has a sound that you kind of emit as you're going around. It's some weird sound of the active camo, so it actually makes you a little bit louder. So that's kind of just a little myth busted, I guess, at the end of this video. Hope that clears a few things up for you guys. And if you guys enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips like this one if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.